We should be live. Cool. All right. Well, it is July the 7th. Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you.
We got all kinds of news going on. I think I accidentally just deleted all of my notes, so I got that going. But let's see. There's something about, I don't know, like HIP 83 or something.
Uh,
Let's see if I
Boy,
can get Neil in here.
there's a lot of hips these days. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really makes me wonder, like, what is the in fact, I'm a part of this, so I shouldn't wonder too much. But what is the process for kind of good hips to come in and to make sure that the foundation side isn't overwhelmed and the community can contribute to kind of producing good hips? Because what I'm seeing is that it was super easy for me to write that. What was it, like the shut console down hip? I just used ChatGPT. I think BFG Neil, you did the same thing for one of yours, and it was like a funny thing to do. But at the same time, I feel like I'm kind of loading the network up with trash. And so I want to be, I want to really think about how we do hips. So
I mean, I have sort of personal opinions on the matter, and I in putting a hip together, it's sort of understanding that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to have to read this thing and understand it. So, kind of best efforts to write something coherent that understands all of the impacts of what would happen for the network and people who are interfacing with the network. But then beyond that, hip discussion channel is awesome to like float some early things, throw a draft out there as a Google Doc or whatever, and then go throw it up on GitHub, right? Like, doesn't have to be a numbered hip. It's kind of fun to see your hip up there on the page, but um, it's good to
yeah,
put some work product together.
yeah,
On the closing note for me is, Foundation is hiring somebody to focus on governance, and so it'll sort of be on them to build the processes and help people, you know, write the best content they can to push the network forward.
yeah, yep. And I think to make sure I'm totally transparent is that Max and I Golden Hawks currently have. I guess it's not a contract yet; it's not signed, but to help build the first parts of that. So certainly involved in that.
Oh, that's
Neil, do you
exciting.
want to talk about HIP 83? This is kind of your thing, right? Or you were psyched on this at least last time I checked. Oh, are you mute? Or is it just me? It might just be me. I don't think so, though. Can you hear him, Joey? No. Okay. Yeah.
Negative.
Neil will be right back. Paul's coming in. Oh, it's getting exciting here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Paul just had a cool, like a little meetup that looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, that looked rad. Yeah. That totally looked rad. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, hello, sorry, really late notice. I just arriving from a one conference in Grenoble, so just landing in Clermont-Ferrand, and so I say, oh, okay, I'm on time. I can try to join. Sorry
And that
for
was
the
at
late
the.
notice.
So you cruise through that word. In English, I'd say Grenoble, but the French are like it's like Grenoble. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of like consonants that get dropped there. But that's the birthplace of Laura, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. With yesterday we had a kind of pilgrimage with I was with Jose Marcelino from RAC, and
Mm-hmm.
like a kind of pilgrimage going to Syntec office in France just to take
It
a
was cool.
picture. Yeah, but no, that was cool. We meet some guys from Syntec at the conference. It was a really interesting talk. So yeah, it was really interesting.
And the guy who invented Laura, if he's still doing the same thing, is still using it. He's just using it for search and rescue. No longer works at Semtech, but I think he's still in the area.
Yeah, yeah, it's still on your developing solution around, but yeah, they are not working anymore at Semtech, but try to develop some specific usage with some specific part of the technology. Yeah.
Cool. Super cool. Okay, so there's some voting talk in the chat. Neil, how's your mic now?
You should be able to hear me now. Is it better?
100%. All right, walk me
Yeah.
through this HIP 83 first 14 witnesses crap.
So yeah, I mean, it obviously didn't start out like that, but it was definitely ever since it's happened. Um, so originally it was first to witness, and then sync issues have meant that it needed to be randomized so that people had time to submit. So they had time to sync to the height of the chain and then submit the beacon. So we had this random situation. But now that's all gone. It was basically we're trying to get this HIP to go back to the way the system was.
Yep.
Now, it's like this one HIP alone does not solve a massive, massive problem, but it moves the needle towards this period of if it's too slow to handle data and it wouldn't handle data, why the hell are we paying it at all? All
Right.
it's doing is sucking up rewards in concentrated areas with 14 of other competition that could serve data in that area. So why not reduce the amount that those hotspots earn to free it up for other areas of the network where, you know, remote coverage is really needed, you know, connect the dots between cities, you know, brand new coverage. Most of France is like that, isn't it? You know, not a ton of coverage that really need those rewards that are just concentrated in cities right now. And HIP 83 is a start of that for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Joey, Paul, anything to add? You guys voting yes,
Neil
no,
explained that
abstaining?
perfectly. Yeah, I got to read through a little bit more and kind of think about where the proof of coverage model is going. But on the surface, your explanation makes total sense, Neil.
Seems reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are some people that are concerned about it because they've set up a hotspot right outside a city, got a directional antenna and pointed it towards the city and said, I'm a remote hotspot, I'm providing coverage for a remote area. But in reality, all they do is siphoning rewards off from that city. They're not actually providing usable coverage because the antenna's literally pointing towards the city.
Right.
You know, if they were providing an omni and, you know, that can serve data absolutely fine. And, you know, they could support that by putting other hotspots around it, but they don't. They just point towards the city and they're just siphoning rewards out. It's not a remote hotspot that's helping the network, you know.
Vampires.
Yeah, witness vampire, and I see it happen all the time. You know, they're
Yeah.
just on the outskirts, on the tallest peak, pointing in with a directional antenna. What does that help with?
Scum suckers.
I mean, there is coverage value to that, right? Like we love to see tower mounted hotspots, we love to see roof mounted hotspots, we love to see indoor hotspots, because like all of those create like certain levels of redundancy, and you have, you know, opportunities for ADR when you have that kind of density and all of that stuff. I know Paul's got thoughts on ADR. We'll talk about those separately. But like I don't see those types of deployments as bad. What I do tend to agree, like they are disproportionately rewarded, but there was a disproportionate effort in climbing that mountain and setting up that hotspot sometimes, unless you just lived up there anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. I think they're probably being rewarded too much right now. You know, it shouldn't be the case that the folks on the hillsides are necessarily that much more valuable than somebody that's got a hotspot directly inside of an urban area.
Darn it,
Yeah,
Joey, I'm
the more I think
special.
about it,
I'm
yeah, it's
special
like,
and I want to be
yeah.
rewarded. I mean, here's the thing that I
Yeah.
wonder, and then Paul, I'm going to put this over to you because I think you've got some good thoughts on it. Is anyone deploying hotspots anymore for rewards? Because it seems to me, and I know, Joe, you can't comment on that at all. It seems to me like that's not a great use of your time. Like there's not enough there to make it worth it. There was, but there's not anymore, and I don't think there ever will be. So
I don't. I mean, the problem in crypto is that when people don't, they are not getting money. So, which is totally wrong in my point of view. If I look at my rewards, yes, they're really small compared to what I have previously. But basically, with the reward I have, I think like something like 20 hotspot, maybe 15 active or something like this, because I spend less time reactivate hotspot, unfortunately. But basically, I could buy a new hotspot or extending the network on every 2 months. So basically, what I mean is, in terms of investment, it's still not so bad. I mean, we could use that incomes to extend the network. Okay, we can put it on our pocket for sure, and we won't it won't really change our life, which can be different compared to 2 years ago. But if you think about network deployment, basically with these 15 hotspots, you can continue to deploy. So it means it's not nothing. Okay, it's something, and something interesting. It just yeah. So even if a hotspot is just earning $5 a month, I mean, it's still money you get. It's more than the energy you consume. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you
Yeah.
have $10
That's a
a
good point.
month, yeah, it's good too. So, I mean, it still makes sense to deploy hotspot. You can find some hotspot at $50 on aftermarket,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
or $100. Okay, maybe you will have a return on invest after a year, okay, but you're gonna have it. I mean, the life duration of a miner is something like 10 years. Okay, fine. Now you don't have to change the SD card on every 3 months, so it's really
Right.
better.
Right.
But yeah, really, it's something. It's about 10 months. It's really more stable than by the past and so on. So basically, once your installation is up and running, you don't touch anything. It works. So yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
different philosophy you have. But if you want to make a bunch of money, maybe you can go to a new Ponzi. But
You want to make a bunch of money,
if,
go to investment
if you
banking.
want
Get the
to
fuck out of
deploy a
here.
network, you can do that in an efficient way. I had a discussion today with some guys, so it's refreshing my mind. And
Yeah.
what I say is, by the past, I deploy this in network, and by deploying this in network, I invest $4,000. Okay, by doing this on my city. I get zero income from that. Zero. Okay, just I would like to share network with people trying something in the city and so on. Okay, with Helium, even if now I continue to invest on hardware and so on, it won't cost me at the end. Okay, I
Yeah.
made a little investment or I use my token for buying new hardware, but basically it's a no cost thing. So that's quite interesting.
Dig it.
I'll
Dig it.
just, I totally agree with that. I'll just add one little thing, which is we still see commercial providers that aren't interested in HNT setting up Helium gateways because it is the easiest way to set up a LoRaWAN network.
Yep.
And it's the cheapest way to set up a LoRaWAN network, which is another sort of cool aspect to the way that this is all modeled.
Yeah, cool.
One of the point, which is currently, I mean, I think that today it's really interesting to deploy data only. I mean, less expensive. You don't change a lot of things in terms of reward and so on. But so, Joey, when we'll be able to register DIY for data only and data only?
Very,
Because,
very soon. Yeah, I'm seeing that the pull requests are starting to come get merged. So that's looking good.
Thank you.
Cool. That's exciting. Let's see what else we got. We got some kind of non-Helium news, but I put it up at the top just to make sure everybody saw it because a lot of people watching this are also in the greater deep in space, and that is that GeoNet got some investment from Borderless. I think they announced it yesterday. In fact, I know they announced it yesterday because we announced it on Deep in State. And while neither GeoNet or Borderless is kind of directly a part of Helium right now, I thought it was pretty interesting to zoom back out and think that this may be for me, it's like the first signs of spring when the little fucking thing little tendril comes up out of the ground, and maybe crypto winter is starting to be behind us, or maybe broken the back of it. So it's kind of a cool sign for me. We're not in summer. It's not DeFi summer or DY summer, whatever again, but it was a cool sign to see that investment companies are seeing like, okay, here are these projects really inspired by Helium, and we see that there's some value in them. So pretty cool stuff. Let's see. Green metrics. That's what's that, Joey?
Oh, just congrats to that team. It's always a nice validation.
Yeah. It was a big deal, and Max and I, they're clients of 𝗚𝗏𝗀𝗏, so I was like super excited to watch that whole thing go down and to be a part of it. And I know some of the investment came from some of the staking work that we'd done, so that was super cool. I just saw a thumbs down. Wow. The fuck? Go fuck yourself. How about that? But I saw lots of thumbs up and lots of people watching, so that's cool. Let's do the green metric stuff, Joe. You just dropped this link on me. I was checking it out, but talk me through what's going on there.
Yeah, well, it's just a fun thing that popped up last week. Actually, it was the week before. But always keeping an eye out for teams building and using the Helium network. This was actually a team, and I met these folks at Breakpoint in Lisbon last year. Talked all about some of the cool stuff they were doing. I think they were operating under a different name, so then these projects started to come up, and it's like, this kind of seems familiar, but like this, cool, somebody's doing the thing finally, right? So I'll highlight two of their projects. One, they worked with the Civil Protection, Lisbon Civil Protection Group, I don't know what you call it, organization, the government, and set up moisture sensors, or rather like leak detection sensors, in all of these sewer pipes and underpasses in Lisbon. And with all of that data they were collecting, they're actually able to predict 10, 15 minutes out before floods were going to happen in parts of the city. And they just basically they pushed their way in and said like, hey, we're going to try and solve this problem for you. Here's the sensors. Here's what we're going to do with it. They got the approval. They bolted these things to the walls, alongside the government officials, and proved the use case using helium, because there's awesome helium coverage in Lisbon. And then the other one that they did, are still doing, is deploying soil moisture sensors on golf courses. And the way they've represented this data is like very cool, because it's almost like a game. When it rains, you want to keep your moisture level within these two bars that they've highlighted on the map. You're oversaturated or you're undersaturated. And they've sort of gone and looked up the science for like where you want those ranges to be. And it's saving tons of money for these golf courses, tons of water in a water resource strapped area. And one of the golf courses, they're going and deploying sensors. The other one, they were able to just use the coverage that was already there. And they're actually setting these sensors up under the surface level of the green. So they put this little box in there and throw their sensors in, and the coverage is good enough that they don't have to put it above ground. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so they've got more stuff coming, but it's just always cool to see the really smart ways that folks are using the network, sort of the same methods that you apply, which is like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to try this thing and see how it works. Like that's the thing that, more than anything, I just want to like take that and replicate that across our whole community, because there's options out there. There's opportunity to build businesses, and we want to see people do it.
Yeah. Paul, I just saw our Discord chat. You actually have some super cool news. There's this 𝗪𝗏 repeater thing. There's 𝗪𝗏. Like, what's going on, dude? What did I miss there?
Yeah, so there's news from the conference I've been. We had a really good presentation of Semtech about the 𝗪𝗏 repeater. Basically, the use case is, for example, when you do metering and you have a meter which is underground, and so it's a bit far from the network, so we have connectivity issue. You can deploy a hotspot close to this device, or actually you can use a repeater. So the repeater will just be close to the device and just get, as it is short range, get the message on LoRa and repeat it from the outside with more power and reach the network. So there is plenty of use case for this, and basically the specification of the repeater is close to be published or just published, and so the first device will arrive soon. So that's quite interesting. What is also interesting is that it means there is some specific implementation to be done in the LNS, and basically 𝗪𝗏 is used for testing the solution. So basically 𝗪𝗏 is will or is ready. I don't know if it's a beta preview or if it's already packaged, but it's going to be ready for using this. So that's something interesting. It should be compatible with Helium. With the packet route, the routing system we have in the middle. Maybe some little thing to check, but it should. So that's a news which is interesting. And yeah, the other one is more discussion. So this is we're gonna see what to do. But I discussed with a LoRa satellite provider. It's really small, a smarter startup, but they have a satellite in the space, and they're really interested in trying some communication on Helium with that satellite. So it could be the first hotspot on the sky on the space. So I think that the integration is really quite simple. So we can do something. We're in touch. We'll try to do that. to do some trials. So Joey, maybe I think you will be interesting in watching that. It's just asking a question we're discussing with that guy. Is okay, but where are we locating the satellite? Where is the location? What is the position? We cannot update the position of this hotspot with a transaction and so on.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting question for the future
Where do you
of
assert it? Because now
Helium.
there's
Yeah.
altitude gets super important. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we want to capture. We don't want to get localization with it. I mean, we want to capture packets. So it's more a question of having a spot which does not have localization, but basically to not perturbate the rest of the ecosystem. And this is really a LoRa satellite. So basically, it's not LFHSS modulation. So it really works with standard devices. So yeah, that's something interesting. We should make some tests. So yeah, stay tuned. I will keep you updated on this. But yeah,
That's exciting.
Yeah, sure.
That's rad. I wonder if we'll see just people zinging satellites up all over the place and providing exceptional coverage. Maybe not.
There's a ton of really cool things that come out of a satellite like that. One of them is like opportunities in anti-gaming as well, because you have a predictable sort of known entity circling the entire globe, listening to all of the LoRa packets. It's a
It's like
hypothesis,
the golden
untested,
hotspot.
but yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think the limit is most of the satellite solution are using AF HSF communication, which is different than LoRa. It's a different modulation. And the main reason is that you don't really want to hear all the LoRa traffic. But it would be interesting to. I mean, we could verify with a satellite that the POC is by receiving some POC. So yeah, that could be very interesting in anti-gaming. Yeah, would be interesting topics. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did a grant. Sorry, this is going to go on for too long, but like we did a grant with the Helium Foundation with a team in Canada that was looking at using the Helium network as a ground station for satellite communications, and they were going to be beaming down standard LoRa packets as a methodology there. Very cool thing. I think we've got an article coming about that soon.
Super cool. Let's see, what else have I got? Data lake for Oracle queries. What's this geeky shit, Joey? What's going on there?
Oh yeah. So I'll keep this one short, but generally the Oracle data, and Paul can probably also thumbs up this. It's a little hard to get in and use because it's a lot of data in a sort of funny format with these protobuf files, and so what the foundation team has done in this case is taken those and translated them into Parquet files, which are more easily queryable as a data lake. And so the general idea here is you don't, as a querying system, it's not in a big database. These are sort of static files sitting in AWS, S3 bucket, and then you can query that remote system and build your analysis that way. So there's basically an index to tell you where things are and what they are, and then you go get the data separately. So this is a sort of beta release right now. There's a bit of a discussion in the Oracle data channel in the Helium Discord, and then I think you might be sharing a link out, and that's kind of where the main code and examples are. There's one little catch, which is all of this data in S3 is set up as a requester pays basis because it otherwise would get very expensive if people were hitting it with massive queries. So there's a bit of like, know what you're doing going into this. If all of these words that I'm saying make sense to you, then this is probably exciting. If not, wait until somebody gives you the research, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, that's usually it. It's like if you don't understand what I've found in this in this foray into technology over the last 2 years, like if you don't understand what's going on, you can expect nothing to work for the first like 40% of your exploration. That's been my, and then it starts to work, and then like the last 20% goes like that. But god damn, it's super frustrating if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Let's
we
see.
try to make it easy when it makes sense, but you can definitely shoot yourself in the foot with this one.
Yeah. Sounds like you can get yourself run yourself up a bill you might not either expect or have been gotten good use out of. Let's see. So this it goes a little bit to the suburban crypto idea. Is there a library that has all the articles from the Helium Foundation? Is one of the comments. I guess the closest is like Docusource or maybe the Helium blog.
Yeah. I mean, we have a blog and we have documentation. If there was some exact,
like a specific thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I found the same thing. It's like, the information is all there. You've just got to wade through it, and you also have to make sure. And I haven't looked recently because I haven't had a project that required it. But there's a lot of stuff that is just out of date, right? Which is including on the 𝗪𝗁𝐾𝐞𝐬 blog. It's not just limited to the Helium Foundation stuff, but I get people reading the original hotspot thing, and they're like, dude, I'm gonna make like 30 HNT a day. It's like that's not how it works anymore. And a lot of the stuff is out of date. So one of the challenges of being in this space where things are changing so rapidly is keeping everything up to date and letting people know when they're reading a specific article, like, hey, this was true 2 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. It's no longer true and no longer useful. And Paul, I'm sure you have to deal with it. Same thing on your blog where, 2 years ago you wrote about how to, what was it? Like do this whole OUI thing. And that's changed significantly since we moved from the Helium L1 over to Solana. So yeah, one of the challenges. Let's see, for folks watching, we had some problems with hotspots getting onboarded. I didn't experience any of that because I have not onboarded a hotspot in probably 9 months, maybe more. But apparently there was a problem and it's been fixed. So good job. I don't know about that, Joe. It's like making sure makers had enough SOL in their account, which seems to be the refrain here, is have enough SOL.
Yeah, there may have been some bug fixes that rolled out for config servers.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I saw Germ posted about something in Discord about some onboarding server being fixed. So it's like those Discord announcements are nice, but it's always like, oh yeah, this thing that was broken is fixed. Great. I'm glad everything continues to work.
Yeah, try and stay on top of it.
I had another thing, and Paul, this not really affects you, but is an intersection with the console stuff that we're doing for 𝗪𝗏scientific is, as of 2 days ago, over on app.𝗪𝗏scientific.com, billing is now on. So for a while, that service was provided free for anyone who could find it. I put it out a couple times on this YouTube. So if you want to visualize your data, the same way DataCake does or any of these others, you can now do that. And now, which is great for me, you can get charged so that I'm not paying all the costs. One of the cool things there is that is run by Nick Huff from, most people would recognize him from Helium Vision. The company is now called, I think, Lake Street Software, and the piece of software is called Uplink Engine. And it is now 50 cents a month to have a device on there at the XS extra small level, which is half the price of, I think, anything else out there, certainly of DataCake. And that's not to say that this thing is, better than DataCake. It's pretty darn good. And I would look at it as, if you're doing something super customizable and you want to work directly with the guy who's running it, this Uplink Engine thing is a super good option. If you just want something that works out of the box and you want like a giant library of codecs, right now DataCake is probably a better option. Or other, something else as well. Joey, I know you got swamped with notifications from 𝗪𝗏scientific when you first signed up. So there were still some,
too bad. But,
yeah, still some bugs there.
I get swamped with notifications all the time.
Yeah.
Used to it.
Paul, I've been putting on the measurements into a couple devices in the console that you run for me. I know at one point you'd said, like, hey, we got to be careful with how long we keep that data. That's going to overwhelm the server. You're out of here, Joey? All right. Later, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. What's going on there? Are you noticing? I can't imagine you noticing anything from my end, but maybe you are.
Yeah, I currently did not investigate a lot in this area. The data volume currently is not a problem.
Okay.
So yeah, it works well, and it will continue to work. While I man, what we have to be careful is that ShipStack is a DNS. It's not an application server, and so it's good to have this metric for debugging and things like this. But it's not a place to store the metrics. Otherwise, we can explode the database and impact the performance.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea is I had to investigate on how to limit the storage for last 2 weeks or things like this. But it's not stored inside the database. It's stored on a Redis part, and so I need to investigate a bit how Redis. I mean, where is it in Redis, and how to manage Redis. Redis is a bit a black box to me
Okay.
yet, so I need to investigate this.
Cool. And I
I will let you
think
know. For
Bones, who's on the Discord on the Grizzle Gang OUI Discord, has some experience with that and was saying there's some default setting where you can just set it to only hold for 7 days or 24 hours. So maybe we just connect with him and see where that is, because that sounds like the best
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Maybe it's just a setting in ChipStack. So yeah, I need to investigate this. I have
Okay.
I mean, plenty of things to investigate. So this is, I mean, long-term problem. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
will,
yeah.
I will
Hey, what's going
just
on with the MQTT integration? Now that I've got you on the horn, I know that that's something I've been wanting for a while, and I know it's been on. It's like
yeah.
slowly rising up for you.
Yeah, no, it's still. I mean, it's the next thing I need to work on. But I'm preparing to take some holidays, so I don't think I'm gonna have the time to work on it before it. I expect what I want to do, because I mean, MQTT is required for migrating existing users, but I mean, I plan to start the official launch of the Chipstock stuff on mid August.
Okay.
And so basically, I mean, there's no direct link between MQTT and launch of Chipstack, as people will have months for the migration. So that's my next thing. I hope to have it ready for end of August, basically. Yeah, if there's no big issue between this. Yeah, the problem of the MQTT part is not a big development. It's more like we have to maintain connectivity when it's required, but not for too long time if not needed. So there is some things to improve them to make sure it works correctly.
Yeah.
It's I mean basically the reason why it's not natively implemented. Just for information, when I look at the log of my legacy Helium console, most of the logs are related to MQTT connections that are not working. So this is the problem. Yeah. So next things, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, I mean, no huge rush on my end. I'd like to see it, but of course, I got access to the Helium console, so if I absolutely have to do MQTT stuff, which I've got one project that'll need it, I can do it there. That's super easy. What is there anything else new for you? Sounds like you had a really good time at the meetup that you held in 𝗪𝗏𝘁. So that looks super cool, and at least on Twitter, it was fun.
I promise the network, so I miss your last sentence.
Ah, yeah, yeah, it dropped off. It looked like the meeting that you held in your hometown of 𝗪𝗏𝘁 looked pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we had a really good time with the attendees. We had attendees from Lisbon with Jose joining us. We had some from Chambéry, from Toulouse. So it's really nice to see that plenty of, I mean, some people come from far away. So we had a good time. We've been something like 15, 20 people. So not a big event, but it was a good opportunity for really going deep in the architecture, manipulating devices. So we had a workshop with rack with block boards, and people have been able to send from into the chipsack environment. So that was quite good. We had good discussion, and yeah, really interested people locally also about what we've done. Some of project of crypto that was really interesting. We discussed about proof of localization. So it's another kind of proof, but it's the idea to use Helium network to prove where you are, and basically they want to apply this for local money, local crypto money. So local device is something that is I don't know if in USA you have this, but in France we have a couple of this. It's a money you can use, but in your region, it's to maintain regional exchange. So you cannot spend your money outside the region, and so you can do this with your crypto. And if you can prove in the crypto when you do the transactions that the two people in the transaction are located in the region, and so basically, you can use Helium as a proof of localization with the hotspots that are in place. And so, yeah, so we had discussion about this kind of ideas and project. It was really interesting.
Huh. So it's not like a currency like the euro. It's a crypto thing, this localization piece, right?
Yeah. In fact, currently you have the currency that exists, which is not crypto based. So this is existing in France and maybe some other place. But so the idea here is to do this with a currency, a cryptocurrency. So go from physical to digital, basically, and use the crypto to prove the localization. Because currently, I mean, the currency is made to be used locally, but nothing blocks you to use it externally. I mean, it's physical asset, so you can move it. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's the idea of having a cryptocurrency for local exchange.
Interesting. And I'm trying to understand why that would be an advantage to have a local currency versus, a global one.
It's the idea of not exporting. I mean, at a local stage, but not exporting these monies. Basically,
Okay.
you can exchange a service against some of this cryptocurrency, for example, and basically you want that the corresponding energy you spend basically for doing the job that is represented by this crypto money will be used locally. It's interesting in terms of if you see more larger. It's like saying currently you are importing a lot of things from far away, which has a big impact in terms of green gas emission and so on.
Ah, okay.
So basically, by doing local things, you're sure that all the exchange are in short distance, and that's basically the
Oh, cool.
idea. Yeah, and
That seems like a super European idea. Like you guys really care about the environment, where America's like, fuck it, we'll just find another planet and colonize that.
yeah, I mean, that's not only a question of environmental impact, but yeah, it's for the illustration. It applies for the environmental impact, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, for sure. I mean, having a local crypto, I mean, local money is I think something which is maybe really European.
No, that's not how we roll. We're busy building an empire over here. Um, hey, what was it like? You said there are 20 people there. Was everybody at the meeting? Was everybody into crypto? Did everybody know about Helium?
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of outsiders coming in, like
No,
asking?
we had a lot of outsiders. We had some, yeah, we have different kind of profile, lots of coming from university. We had guys that are on LoRaWAN but did not know Helium, and so were interesting about migrating what they do into Helium. So that was interesting. It's a big company around. We also had so people involved in crypto that have been heard about a bit about Helium and want to get more, and some more curious people. I mean, interested in. I mean, and people involved in technology and interesting to get more information about Helium and crypto and all that stuff. But the focus of the event was really on the usage of Helium. So in fact, we have talked about crypto for sure and explained the poke mechanism and so on. But I mean, more generally, the question was really more how to use the Helium. We had a workshop, an inspiration workshop about how we have Helium and how to use it in IoT domain for having an impact. So yeah, it's more green gas oriented and so on. But how we can help some specific domain with providing services on this. Yeah, so it was really about the usage, in fact. So we are not specially targeting crypto guys.
Got
And
it.
for the evening, we also had people from the community that has deployed Hotspots, so they were more. coming for discussing crypto things and so on.
And how did
So
people
we are
hear
going.
about it? Because this is one of the first Helium meetups I've seen that was. I think you got a grant, a Helium Foundation grant, to help out with this. Like, how did you make sure people showed up?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, communication and social network basically to get people to
Yep.
register on the event. And I mean, I think we have a direct or indirect contact with about 80% of the or 90% of the guy coming. So yeah, that's I mean, we know that they are going to show up because we know them.
Yeah,
Mostly.
yeah. You're inviting them to come. And if I remember right, do you teach at the local university? I remember when I was going to come out there, we were going to do something with the local school, and then I of course missed that. But that's what you do, right?
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one important thing I'm start to put in place, and we executed on this workshop is inside the chip stack. There is a mechanism to create some coupon code. You cannot access it currently. There's no the user, so it's an API currently, but we can use it with API. And with the coupon code, you can have a specific registration. So the idea behind is to have some program for teachers. So you will be able to register as a teacher in the console and request some coupon for your students. And basically the idea is instead of having the 100 DCs you have when you do a public sign up, you will be able to get something like 10,000 DCs. And so, which is good enough for having a workshop and deploy some sensor eventually. Things like this. So yeah, I want to have an educational program because what I see, and I mean, as is all this day, I mean, Wednesdays there was lots of people from university, and the conference I was the 2 previous day of today and yesterday was a university conference. And what we see is that the problem when you want to teach on this technology is that you need to get access to the network. And basically, Sigfox is not really studied in university because it's really complex to get a free access. And if
Mm.
you want to pay, it's not a question of price; it's just a question of process for a
Yeah.
university, which is too much complex. And for Helium, it's the same thing. Basically, it's not the price; the process can be complex. So we need to make something which is really free. Otherwise, I mean, currently everyone is using CTN, which is really good. I mean, but they're using TTM because they can plug their gateway and access the network, and there's no subscription and no prior cost, and so on. It just simplifies the process.
Yeah.
So I would like to do something that makes the process really easy for them and let them access the network. That's quite interesting. And they are
That's a
all really interesting by Helium network as the global coverage is opening a lot of opportunities in research in particularly. So yeah, they're really interested by this.
that's a super cool idea. So if I'm hearing that right, I would go to, and I wanted to do the same thing. I would go to the local university and say, look, if you guys want to run a Helium day, one of you guys sign up for an account. I'll fund it with 10,000 DC, and you guys give as many users as you want on that account, and that should cover us for the day of anyone onboarding devices and checking it out. And at the end of the day, if you want to keep using it, you can. But 10,000 DC for me is a pretty low cost to support, especially to support education and
Yeah.
broadcasting. That's
Yeah.
rad. I'm going to do that.
The idea is more that it's not one account with 10,000. Is more you get for example 20 coupon. You have 20 people, you get 20 coupon, and for every coupon you get 10,000. Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, it can be 5,000 or 1,000. I mean,
Right.
we can put whatever we want. In
Yeah.
fact, or it can be
Yep.
1 million if you want. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's really the idea of giving. Okay, you organize something. You're a teacher. You organize an event, you register like this. We will have basically a process to validate this. And if it is validated, this guy will get as a response a certain number of coupon, and he can just distribute the coupon to people. And when
Yep.
you register, if you look in your, in fact, if you when you sign up in the console, maybe you see there is a login, password, tenant, and coupon. And
Yep.
coupon you let it empty usually,
Yep.
but it's where you apply this coupon, and basically it gives you a different profile.
Yep.
So you have the default profile if you have no coupon, and if you have a coupon, you get a different device type template, which is different profile, and basically you can have things like, I mean, all the invoice system can be changed with that way. So basically, you can for a profile, it can be 5 DC per uplink, or yeah, it's a free DC token, which can be 10,000. So you can have some
Yeah.
invoicing which is completely different in that way.
That's super cool. Well, I'll reach out to my local, one of the a couple of local universities and see about doing that, and then maybe I'll talk with you and figure out about how we do it. But I think that's a super cool way of kind of using the superpowers we have with this 𝗪𝗪 console and just making sure more people have like access and like an entry point to it. Okay, cool, dude. Well, I know you're going on vacation soon. Where you going?
I prefer not get
Okay,
too much
top
detail on
secret.
social network on where I am and so on. So I will tell you directly.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me when you come back. But super cool. And that's going to start pretty soon. So we'll probably miss you for a couple of State of the Networks. But ripping, dude. Thanks for coming on. I think we wrapped this one up a little bit early, but sounds like a lot. Like this is like the building time when everyone just kind of heads down and crushing. So, what you got there?
Yeah, I just want to share that because Josie gave me one. It's a rack button. I really like
yeah.
it. So yeah, I want to share it. It's just stupid. It's a button. You click and it send a message. You can click and it send another message. So yeah, it's quite stupid, but I really like it. It's yeah, I'm gonna play with it. It's 4 button. You can have 4 action basically behind this. It's Laura 1 for sure. It has a life of about a year. You can research the battery. So yeah, you can stick it somewhere and click and you get an action with a message which you send on Helium. Yeah. So yeah.
Let me ask you about that then, Paul. So I think I've got one of those. Nick Huff uses those to test things. So when he's doing like a new network, he'll just use it as a tester to make sure when he's in a location, like a super cheap mapper. How are you getting that thing to then perform an action, right? I get the part where you hit the button, it sends the message to console. Are you just doing an HTTP integration from console to somewhere else to then turn on a light or do whatever it is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
you can use FTTT or this kind of service for doing this, and you can use Node-RED. I think Node-RED is something easy you can use if you want to make your own automation. You know, Node-RED is a system where you draw your process by drag and dropping different nodes that are actions. So you have a node that can get the chip stack frame, and then another one that will execute the action, like connecting to a connected bulb, for example, and opening lights or things like this.
Okay. I've got to explore that a little bit. I saw that I was setting up, I don't know if you've played with Home Assistant at all, but there's a Node-RED integration for Home Assistant. And I was like, I'll check this thing out. It reminded me a lot of the Helium Foundation, their console, their flows, where you're just connecting.
Yeah, really similar to the console flows, yeah.
So, cool. All right, buddy. Well, we'll see you either next week or when you come back from vacation. But thanks for coming on. Always good to see you guys. And everyone else, I will see you guys next week.
See you, bye.
Yeah, ciao, ciao.